Is it visible to you guys now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I was talking about the underfit and overfit of columns, right? So when we are having a data which is in a data table format, what we can do in Excel is we can perform autofit, right? So if you see, what we can do is Control A, and that there is a shortcut of Autofit which is Alt HY. Okay, so if we are doing that, we'll be getting all those data whatever you are having in that particular sheet and whatever the selection you are making, right? So as I have selected this particular data table, so it will be performing the action over that. But how we can do it using Power Automate? So for that we have an activity which is called resize columns. So if you are taking that into canvas, so you are having option where you are able to set the Excel instance on which you are trying to perform these actions, right? So by default, because we are having only one particular Excel instance here, it is giving us that. But if you're having more than one, right, then you have to select those kind of Excel instances where you want this particular activity to be performed. All right. And what we want to do, we want to resize columns, right? So we can select column. If we want to perform this particular activity on row, even that we can do. Okay, so in few cases you might have seen that there are some text which are coming out of the column, sorry, row, right? Row value or the cell. So in those particular cases, you can apply this resize column or rows in Excel worksheet. So in this case, what I am doing, I am opening that particular file. If you see the original structure of this file, it has not that particular activity performed over it, right? So if I am using now, what it will do, it will open that particular thing, but it will close that as well. But I want that action to be saved. So what we can do is in the close Excel activity, we can select save document. So when we are selecting this, it will save that particular changes whatever you have done using these kind of activities through Power Automate, right? Let's run our program. All right, it's completed now. Let's go and open this file. Now if you see, all your data are, at least if you see with respect to the sizing, right? So if you see the sizing now, it has been auto fitted, right? So for no queries, right? Do we have any query, any questions? No. Okay, let's move forward. So now we have already performed this resizing of column, reading from Excel table. Now let's perform this copy cell from Excel worksheet. So there would be some cases where you are going into Excel and you are selecting some particular cells or a range of cells, right? And then you are copying those things. So when you are copying that, it would be getting saved into your clipboard. And based upon your application or whatever you are doing, right, according to that, you can take further actions as well. So in few cases, what people do is people would be taking the data from Excel and they would be going into SAP and they will be downloading few reports with respect to the part number or some other things, right? So I'm just giving a scenario, right? So let's do that. Let's copy few cells, right? So let's type our main agenda here, Excel, right? Excel activities. So here, if you see, copy cells from Excel worksheet is there, right? So take that. And then you are having an option to set instance, which I have already explained, right? According to the kind of instances you have created previous, you will be able to select that, right? So for us, the default instance is Excel instance, and we would be copying not from a single cell. I will be trying to copy from a range of cells. Okay, so it is asking us again from which range to which range you want, right? So let's try to copy entire data A. and our data starts from 1, right? The row index is 1, right? And end column would be again, which is a variable, which is a dynamic variable, right? Which might change in future. So let's go and select, okay, sorry, it would go under row and till here, right? But again, when we are taking first free column variable, what it does is it takes the instance, the index of the column which is not having the data. So we can subtract value 1 from here and here. And for now, just disable this particular activities. So we'll be able to see what exactly it does and how exactly it does. Let's go and run it. So now if we come here, if we are making into full screen, you will be seeing that how you are copying, right? Whenever you copy some cells from an Excel file, it will be showing you all the dotted lines, right? Traveling. It means that your data has been copied, right? So let's do one more thing. Let's create an Excel worksheet in that particular file which you are trying to open. Let's create an Excel worksheet there and let's try to paste the data there. So we can create an Excel worksheet in that particular file as well. Create new data table. No. Let's type Excel. Add new worksheet, right? So yeah, take that into Canvas. And what exactly you want that particular sheet to be named after, right? So let's name it after new worksheet. Okay. And where exactly you want this particular worksheet to be? You want it to be in the front or you want it to be in the last? So let's make it last. Then again, as I explained earlier, right? So what happens is whenever you are working on a particular Excel file which is having different worksheet, right? So in that particular thing, you have to be very sure about it that you are working on a particular worksheet. When I am talking about worksheet, I'm talking about the sheets which are under a particular file, right? So in that case, you have to be very sure that you are working on the desired worksheet. So you have to activate that worksheet, right? So set, I think there is an option called set. Yeah, set active Excel worksheet, right? Let's take that and set by name or set by index. So let's take name because we already have the name, right? So we have new worksheet. New worksheet. Yeah. Now what it will do, it will set that particular worksheet in active mode. Now let's take paste cells to Excel worksheet. So there are two ways you can do it. Either you can activate a particular cell and you can send keys. So you might have heard an activity named after send keys. Those people who have worked on UiPath or automation anywhere. So in send keys, what we can do is we can send the keys how exactly we are doing on our system, right? Suppose we are trying to copy something, you will be doing Control C. You're trying to paste something, you will be doing Control V, right? So let's take send keys for now. But first, let's do this. Let's activate a cell where we will be pasting our data. Activate. So there are options which are absolutely specified cell or relatively specified cell. But I want absolutely specified cell. I want that data to be present where exactly I'm trying to paste it, right? So let's specify A1. So A1 is the first cell, right? First cell of any Excel sheet. The on the corner left, right, top. So let's activate that and send keys. Send keys there, which would be again Control and V. So this is how you can send keys, like exactly how you are performing the actions using the keyboards, right? But let's see till here how it works, and then we can perform send keys. So right now I am disabling this one, and I am running from the start. All right, let's see. There is an addition of new worksheet sheet. It's there, and our selection in this particular sheet, if you see, that is A1, because we have already specified that we want this particular cell to be in active mode. Okay. So now one more thing. Now I want this window to be maximized in a maximized manner, because if I am giving control V, right, I should not be pressing control V somewhere here. I should not be pressing control V somewhere on a particular file where I don't want that data to be, right? So I want this particular window in a maximized manner. So let's do that. I think for that we can search window. So there are few options where you can perform the maximizing or minimizing activity on a particular window, either by name, handle, or class. So let's take title or class. Here you will be getting the option, like how many windows are open in your computer, right? So if you see, I should be having that employee data Excel. Yeah. So this is the one, right? So what exactly I want to do on that? I want to maximize it. Let's run from the very start and let's see whether it is getting maximized or not. Yeah, it does. Mhm. Now it's time to enable this one, and we have to set that particular window. Yeah, save it, and let's run this one. We'll see whether it is working. I think it should work. Oh no, something is wrong. Yeah, now it is working fine, right? So if you see, this whole entire data has been copied to the new worksheet which we have added, right? So I think so far we are good. Do we have any questions, guys? Hello, am I audible? Which one? Which one, Nitin? You can unmute yourself and then, yeah, let me know which exact portion you want me to repeat. Okay, so which exact portion? No worries, no worries. But which exact portion of this program you want me to repeat? Okay, let me go through all those activities one more time. Okay. So what we are doing here is we are launching the Excel, right? Then we are setting that particular Excel worksheet from where we want that data to be read, right? Then there is an activity that is either you can use it or not, but I just for the sake of showing you guys, I am showing you that you can use this particular resize column or rows activity. Suppose in a scenario where you have to send a report to somebody, right? So that report should be looking good, right? So if that does not look good, it does not make a good impression upon the person who is receiving that, right? So what we can do is we can use this particular resize column and rows in Excel worksheet, and then it will kind of beautify that particular worksheet, right? And then if you want to read that particular data, whatever is stored in that worksheet, you can use this get first free row from Excel worksheet, and it will be giving you the value, the index of that column, which is free now, which is just free just after that particular row or column which is having the data, right? So from here we can have our range set, right? And it is something which is dynamic. Suppose in future, if you are adding some data or appending some files, right, then the data table what you are having in that worksheet might get bigger. But if you are having this, it will be always giving you the first free column or the first free row index. So in that scenario, how we can use it? When we are taking this read from Excel worksheet, we can give the start column, we can give the start row. In our case, it is present in A1, that is our start column and start row. But the end column is something which is dynamic and which we have gotten from first free column and first free row. So I am subtracting one from each because I want only till that particular range where the data is stored, not the advanced one. So what we can do is we can go into advanced, and as we are having our column names as well, so I am checking this thing so that the data table what we are reading, it should not be having the default column headers, right? Because we already have the header, so we don't want any extra column headers to be generated, right? So we are saving that into Excel data. If you see the data what we are reading, all those data, all those column and rows are getting stored here. So we have 50 rows and 11 columns, so all those fields are coming here. So, and again, what we are doing is we are copying those cells similar to this read from Excel, right? How we are reading it, similar to that, what we are doing, we are copying that. And then we are adding a new worksheet, and we are giving the name to that particular worksheet and the index where we want that particular worksheet to be, whether we want it to be in the front or in the last. So I want it to be last one. So I have given the last worksheet, right? And then we are setting that particular Excel worksheet in active mode, so that whenever we are performing any action or we are trying to save that data from the previous worksheet, so it should be getting reflected into the new worksheet, not in the previous one. Because again, uh, we'll be distorting our data, right? If we are merging the same data whatever we are reading, and we are pasting in the same data table, right? So in this case, just to be very sure, we have set this particular new worksheet active, and then even we have activated the cell where exactly our data should be pasted, right? And I want this on my Excel window to be maximized. So I have set this thing as maximized uh, mode, right? So window state is maximized. And then we have performed an action called control V, which anyways, I think everybody is already used to it. Everybody does it on a regular basis. Control C, control V. So similar to that, we have performed an action which is coming under system activities. If you see the send keys would be coming into system activity. So this activity we have done, we have performed, and control, while performing control V, we could see that our data is getting pasted in this particular new worksheet. But there is another way to it. What we can do is we can disable this action as well. This we can disable this action as well. We can directly take a paste data, paste cell to Excel worksheet, right? So let's take that on a specific cell. I want it to be on currently active cell. Okay. So we are already activating this A1, right? So now this is in active mode. If we are pasting the data, so it will directly take that data and it will paste it here. Okay. Let's see. I think so far we are good. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Our data is getting pasted this way as well. Okay. And again, if you see here, our data is not in a manner how exactly we want it to be. So we want the auto fit to be performed here as well. We can do that, right? So we can take this resize column row and we can perform over this as well. Okay, column selection range would be all available, and let's do auto fit, or we can do custom fit as well. So if you're doing custom fit, right? So in custom fit, you can give the value. Suppose I'm giving 20, right? Let's see how it works. Not save it. Let's run it from the very start. And see how it worked, right? And now if you want this particular file to be saved after the work which we have done, we can enable this action, close Excel, and we can choose this particular field called save document, right? We can save it. Or if we want to save this particular file in a new files or new name, we can do that as well. So the category which we have to choose in that particular section would be before closing Excel, save document as. So either you can choose the extension uh, mentioned here, Excel SM, which would be macro enabled and all. Let's make it default and do A, B, C, D. First, we have to choose a path. Let's take this. Let's take any, and what I will do is I will replace this one. As the file is not present there, right? What it will do, it will create a new file after this name, what I am giving. Okay. Let's do that and see whether it works for us or not. Let's close this file. Yeah, it worked, right? We have our file here. See the new worksheet, all those actions which we have performed, all those things are here, right? So I believe so far no issues, right, guys? Do we have any questions? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. I will be sharing the recording with everyone. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let's move forward then. Then I think we have covered add new worksheet, activate new worksheet, range value we have to cover. But yeah, all those things I think that would be too much for today. But yeah, I will be showing you one more thing, which would be applying the macro activity over a worksheet and how we are running that particular macro which is stored under a worksheet, right? That, And if you are having a file which is under the extension of CSV, how to read that. Okay. And if you are having a file which is already opened in Excel, right? So whenever you are opening an Excel file, you have to have a kind of instance under which you can perform action. But suppose in a scenario, suppose you are downloading an SAP report, right? What it does is automatically it will open that particular file in your system. All right. So there are two ways around it. How you can do is you can either terminate Excel, right? You can terminate Excel before running the program. So any file whichever is open, right? So you can, before jumping onto any kind of activity, you can first terminate those Excel files, Excel instances, whatever were previously already running, which you don't have any reference to in this program, and then you can start your program from the beginning, right? So there is one thing called terminate, which I think in future when we are doing some kind of challenges, right, then it will be something which I will be showing you guys. So whenever you are running an Excel file and it is already opened, or some another Excel files are already open in the background, and you see that the Excel might take a lot of time to process your data, right? So in those cases, you would like to close all those Excel files, whatever are running, and you don't actually need them, right? So you can save this and you can run this. So what it will do is all those Excel programs, whatever are running in the background, it will close all those. It's similar to Task Manager, right? So let's not run that right now. Let's close this one as well. I will show you the macro one. What I will do first is, yeah. So this is one thing which I think you will be, once you are working on Power Automate desktop, you will be getting very used to it. So I have done Control A and right click and disable all actions. Okay. I think my meeting will be ending in 10 minutes. No worries. And even this one I would disable right now. So let me show you guys quickly how we are doing in this macro enabled file. So if you see, there is one macro enabled file share with you guys, right? So in that, what we are doing is we already have a macro file stored in that. If you go into developer tab, macros, you will be able to see it. So there are two macros, but I want to run only this particular one. If I am running this one, then what it does is it takes a random data, this function we are running, and we are adding a particular column to it as well. Okay. So let's not save it. And let's run it using Power Automate desktop. So here what I have done is, before closing that Excel file, right, I want to see what is the range now. Because by default, if you see, I have the data up to K column, right? But in the last, when we are actually adding an extra column there, if we are adding any extra column here, our last column should be L. So I want to see whether we are getting this particular value L or not. Because if our program is running fine, then we should be getting that value L. So what I am doing here is I'm launching Excel similar to the previous program, right? So we are taking this particular following, there are two options, right? Either we can run the Excel, open that Excel as a blank document, or the document which you are giving the link to, right? So I have given a document path. I am opening that up, and then I am running the macro. So whenever you are running a macro, we are taking this Excel activity called run Excel macro, right? So in that, what happens is it will ask you which instance, right? I have already explained instance, I think few more times. Again, I am explaining whenever you are opening any Excel file, right? So it automatically creates a virtual environment for that. Next, whatever you are performing any actions onto, it will ask you on which environment you want to perform action on. Okay. So in this scenario, I am performing on Excel instance macro one, because I am launching that particular Excel file under that environment, under that virtual environment, right? And my macro name was macro to run. Okay. And now what I am doing is I am taking first free column row. Okay, similar to what I have done earlier, right? And now I am taking what is the last name of sorry, what is the name of last column which I am having, right? So ideally, if my program is running fine, I should be getting L. Or if my program is not working, or my macro is not working, then the extra column which we are planning to add, right, that won't be getting added. So then I would be getting K. So let's run this one. And one more thing, whenever you are working on a Power Automate desktop, right? So by default, you will be getting one flow that would be named after main that you cannot change, but you can add some subflows as well. All right. Here you could see I have added two more subflows to it. If I am running something from main, I think those guys who have already worked on UiPath, they already know, or even in automation anywhere, you can you can actually launch another program from the first program. You can actually call those. It is kind of linking one program after one another, right? So all those things you can do. So it is similar to that. Let's run this one. Right click and run from here. Yeah, if you see, we are getting this particular message where it says the last filled column is L. And before closing the program, let's go and see. Yes, we have already filled it, right? And let's not close that one. Just press OK and it will close it. Yeah, it got closed. Yeah. Do we have any questions here? No? Yes? Okay. No worries. Okay. Let's quickly see this one. Mhm. Yeah. So in this scenario, what I am doing is, yeah, somebody has actually sent something. I think as having similar processor. Okay. Okay, Nathan. Yeah. If you have something where we can actually work on something, that would be great. We can discuss after meeting. Well, okay. So in this particular scenario, what we can do is we already have this particular Excel worksheet open, right? So I'm not even closing this one. What I will do, I will just start working on that one by using an instance, and I am attaching that particular instance to this worksheet, which is already open, as I explained earlier, right? So in some scenarios where you're downloading some kind of file from SAP or some kind of browser, which actually opens that particular file in the system, right? In those scenarios, the later actions, whatever you want to perform on that particular workbook, you won't be able to do because that particular workbook is not opened under any kind of Excel instance, right? So you won't be able to refer that as well. But in this case, what I am doing is attached to running Excel, right? So Excel is already running in the background, which is named after this ABCD. Okay. And what I am doing is I am creating so by default it will be getting created, but just to give the reference, right? So you can give the nomenclature you want to have. So you can rename it as well. So let's run this one. So now it ran perfectly fine, right? So let's do something very quickly because we are running out of time. Uh, let's type my name on A1 and let's quickly run it. No, what happened? Excel document. Okay, actually we have closed it. Uh, Let me run it from here. Yeah, it worked perfectly fine, right? So similar to that, if you are already having the file open in your system and then you want to create an instance by using which you can earlier the next actions whatever you want to perform, right? All those actions you can give a reference by using that particular instance which you are creating, right? So even that you can do. So let me quickly go and stop the recording.